What's up? Bobo here and Anshul here, guys.
What's good, people? What's going on? Welcome to Who's the Master?
Oh, yeah. And he's in studio with me today. Hell yeah.
That's right. I had to come let you guys see me live and in person without the green screen backdrop.
Yeah, without us actually, looking like we're somewhere else. We're trying to still get things situated the proper way here. Let me just do something real quick. There we go. That's better. I was getting cut off.
So much better. I don't even know what you were thinking at that other level.
Speaking of thinking, what's this bitch thinking above me, dude? She walks like crazy all the time. At 3 a.m, she was walking around. And right now, what's she doing? Churning butter?
All I can say, man, is bitches be walking. You know what I'm saying?
Bitches be walking. Yes.
And
yes.
churn butter. They be doing that too.
Bitches be churning butter and walking. We all know. If there's anything we know, it's that.
Yo, churning butter and walking kind of sounds like a dope band album name, though.
Churning butter and walking. Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Sounds like Metallica's new album they're coming out with. That's probably gonna be a title: Churning Butter and Walking.
Yeah, and their lead singer is Christopher Walken. All right, that was a terrible joke. Terrible joke.
All right, moving along.
Hey, we're gonna get to some news real quick. As you saw in the thumbnail, we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. We're gonna be doing that kind of review, sort of finalizing everything. But first off, we're just gonna be getting to some news and stuff. So, Anshul, you had some stuff that you saw in the news that immediately you started talking about when you came over today. What do you want to throw out there first?
Well, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about, but I think the most interesting thing is that remember that a couple of Twitter accounts, Joe Blow and Comic Book Resources, I think, or comicbook.com, one of the two, have picked up on, and it is the fact that we may have a front runner for the new James Bond.
Oh, snap. And I have to say, I can't believe I didn't think of this when people say, who do you want to become Bond? Who do you want to be Bond? And everybody's been tossing up, Idris Elba. Everybody's been talking up Tom Hardy. Everybody's been talking up all these people, Henry Cavill. And, some of those I was like, yes, more on. Some of them I was kind of like, not so much. But I can't believe I didn't think of Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yo, yeah, ATJ, as his homeboys, including me, call him. Yeah, man, it's an interesting choice. I remember him. First time I saw him was Kick-Ass, and the next thing, he was Mr. You Didn't See That Coming. And then, after that, he's had kind of some varied roles. Like I think you said best when you say he's a chameleon. Bullet Train, I didn't even realize that was him in Bullet Train until after the movie ended. He was fantastic. He was one of the few good spots of that lame-ass movie.
So it wasn't, I never ended up watching it, but
it's all right. It's a mid movie. If you're shooting up some heroin on a Friday night and you need something to pop on Netflix, you go ahead and watch Bullet Train. I'm sure it'll be a great time. But for those of you that are looking for a great movie to watch, probably going to be a little bit lower on your list.
Well, but somehow or another, it's like Pitt is on this second little. Almost like a coup de grace of like, he's like, this is my final stretch. It's what it feels like.
It's his cultural appropriation stretch. He's just going to steal, Japanese properties and put himself in there.
Well, is that what Babylon is? Because I saw the trailer for Babylon and that actually looks pretty cool.
I have not seen the trailer. All I've seen is the footage of Tom Hardy as one of the, I'm sorry, not Tom Hardy, our first Spider-Man.
Oh,
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey
Maguire as one of the heavies, looking creepy as hell.
Yeah, and in the trailer, he just goes, "What the?" And then they cut to something else.
Yeah. So listen, I'm a Brad Pitt stan. I'm a Brad Pitt fan. Screw Angelina Jolie for life.
Yes, I agree with you.
There's nothing wrong getting drunk on a plane. I mean, come on, he smokes a lot of weed, but
and he's also said, and he's also stopped drinking since then, and he's also claimed that he was in a place in his life that he wasn't proud of.
Yeah, it's called being married to Angelina Jolie.
Hey, and we've all been in places where we're not proud of. Whether it be you're not proud of your wife or proud of what you did, we've all been there. And I think what I just said, I've had both of those. I'm not proud of my ex-wife, and I'm not proud of what I did.
You and Brad Pitt are. I'm not gonna say anything bad about your ex-wife. Her and I got along fine, but just to go ahead and say, being a hot girl isn't always what it's cracked up to be, fellas.
No, yeah, and also, Brad Pitt, you and I, we are the same. We look the same. You know, I get the same type of attention you do.
Yeah.
So I can
First
feel
time
where
I
you're
met
coming
Bobo, I
from.
was like, is that Brad Pitt?
It's what everybody thinks. I mean, sorry, it's something. It's a curse I've dealt with my entire life. But back to heartthrobs. You know, this guy,
Back to me.
he's got, of course, yeah. No, Aaron's got the look, man.
Yo, man, I was telling you earlier, this new rugged, manly look he's got going on with a beard and the whole Chad vibe thing he's got going on with the slick back hair. Yo, man, I can see him pulling off Bond. He would be the Bond that is most likely to get drunk in a pub and start a fist fight.
Yes.
And I think I'm okay with that Bond. I think the world needs that James Bond, Bobo. You know?
I agree, man. I think that anytime we get new characters or new actors playing Bond, first and foremost, it's the question of what are they going to bring to the table that we haven't seen?
Yeah.
And all the Bonds, whether you like them or not, they all have done that. They have all brought something to the table that we haven't seen before. I'd say George Lazenby was the closest comparison to Connery. That was like, hey, let's get somebody to replace Connery.
Right.
You know, but after that, they were like, let's get somebody new to be Bond. And let's do something different with the character. So every Bond arguably had his tone he brought to the films. And I think you're right, man. Aaron Taylor could do that.
Well, I think more after Daniel Craig. I think prior to that was just like, which Bond do we think is going to be able to convince viewers he can smash? You know, which one of the Bonds, which British actor can we get that's mad sexy that can look like he can bed a lot of ladies? That's what they mainly went for with a lot of their Bonds. You know, Pierce Brosnan,
and this one's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. But Daniel Craig also bought. We didn't think he would bring this when he got cast, but with Casino Royale, he brought this kind of, you know, unkempt kind of, for lack of a better word, manliness. Like he just looked he had this vicious kind of vibe to him. Because that Bond was more in line with, from what I understand, the original iteration of Bond, where he's kind of a cold-blooded, ruthless guy. He's kind of a sociopath, which is probably what you need from a
unhinged, a little bit, unpredictable, not a good candidate for a marriage. Which, you know,
no.
This was the first one that you saw that where he cared about her, but then that was it. After Vesper, he's like, I'm not getting close anymore. And well, I'm talking about with Daniel Craig. So, you know, I mean, look, Daniel Craig was the origin, you know, and now obviously it was different. They weren't saying that this is the origin story to every Bond movie you've seen. They were just saying, let's tell an origin story and let's do it from Bond from the beginning. So essentially we see him before he's 007 and he finally says, I'm, you know, and at the end he becomes it and he's like, I'm James Bond. And that's where his true character starts for that franchise of the Craig. What is this going to be?
Well, that's an interesting question I want to bring up, because all the conversation, or a lot of the conversation around Bond prior to this, had been centered around casting somebody that wasn't typical to cast, that wasn't white, that brought a little bit more flavor to something from England that didn't require them to go invade my country. And so, you know, there have been talks of casting a woman. There have been talks of casting Idris Elba. There have been talks of casting brown people. You know, there's a couple of Henry Gold was a candidate that a lot of people bandied about. He's an Asian dude. And they kind of went back to the well on this one, right? He's a little bit different from most Bonds, but he's still a white British dude. So,
well, look,
do you think they lost something do you think they lost an opportunity by going back to the typical type of casting that they normally do?
I don't think they lost an opportunity. I think it makes sense. I think that, like, right away, the feeling I got when I looked at him, I was like, how did I never think of that? And that's all it needs to be for me. I honestly, out of everybody that they were looking at, that they were throwing up as rumors, you know, the Cavill and the Hardy and the Idris and all that, I honestly, even Rob Haddon was brought up, you know, what's his name? The guy that played King Rob in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
He was brought up. But to me, it's just like, you know, John Campea, and I, not to reference him, but he has mentioned this before, and I agree with him. As long as they're following what makes the character, and first and foremost, I'm sorry, James Bond was written as a male. So to change that over, but there's nothing truly defining about the character that says he has to be white. He does have to be British. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I would say that the original Bond was very much written to be a white male, but I would also add that there's no rule saying 007 has to be a male, right?
Right, which is fine. Lashana Lynch can be 007. She's just not Jamie Bond, you know?
Yeah, and I'm all about that too. Like, listen, I do want to see some diversity because I think I want to see different stories being told. I hate these same ass, lame ass, boring stories that we've been getting with no originality. And if you need a different culture to give you a little bit of that oomph to get that originality, that's fine. But
don't just do it to do it.
Well, it's kind of insulting to women if you're like, what's the best we can do? Oh, we'll just make James Bond a female. Like, write a whole new character. Make it, get a female scriptwriter in there to get a perspective from a female. Don't just say, I'm just going to change the male character to a female. That's just, repackaging something that's old and trying to basically appease your mass audience for brownie points. This is not really good storytelling.
Well, no, you're right. And when I first heard about Lashana Lynch going to be they're like, oh, she's going to be the new James Bond. And I was like, that just doesn't seem like something they do. Once I saw Die Another Day and the way they incorporated her character, I liked her. I liked what they did because she had a character involvement in the movie. She wasn't James Bond. It was 007. And there's like, they talk about that in the movie. And he's like, Daniel Craig's character is like, what the hell? I'm okay, fine. You want to be 007? You want to take it from me? I'm still James Bond.
Yeah.
And that was, they even, made that very self-aware.
Why can't you have a James Bond cinematic universe, yo? I mean, everybody else is doing it.
Well,
we might even have a BrassReel film cinematic universe.
BrassReel movie reviews.
Yeah, we'll do our own. We'll do the BRCU. Okay, but no, in all seriousness, you can do that. I think it's smart to do spinoffs.
Be great to see Trevelyan come back.
Right, but yeah, like give Jaws. What was the guy? Wasn't that the
Richard Kyle?
Yeah, give him a spinoff movie.
Oh, Jaws was awesome.
I'd
see that.
We could do a special Bond Girls, right? That would be lit.
That's true.
Right?
True. Do a full-on Bond Girl special. Like, well, they do have like one covering all the girls, but you're talking about like a universe of just Bond girls.
Yeah, just have them have their own special. It'll center around some of the Bond girls. But here's the thing. The reason I do say that maybe it's a little bit of a lost opportunity is Bond's got competition. It's not the old school days, right? Who's the premier ass kicker in movies right now? It's not James Bond.
Well, it's John Wick.
John Wick, yes, thank you. Yeah, he's the guy that you go to watch, right?
Well, but he's also a new character.
That's what I'm saying, though. Bond is an old character, so not as many people get excited.
But Bond is tradition, though. At this point, like I think Bond people always get excited about Bond as long as
how long though?
As long as they're good. That's what I'm saying.
That's also what I'm also saying. So you're running out of stories about the same dudes, and how long are they gonna stay good? That's where diversity can be a bonus.
True. No, you're right. And also too, what if they told a Bond story in a either future time or past time to where, because all Bond movies,
2099,
all Bond movies we've ever watched are in the present day when we're going to see them. We've never seen the Bond movie take place in the past, or we've never seen a Bond movie take place in the future. So there could be something.
That's your pitch, James Bond, but Hamlet.
Yeah, it's just James Bond the whole movie.
Yeah.
Or no, that's Macbeth. Sorry, Macbeth is just one character.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's move on.
Okay.
But just real quick, Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think he's going to be great. I think it's a good choice. Is there a missed opportunity with not going with some more diversity? Sure. But I think I'll be satisfied with this.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he teams up with Hit Girl. I think it'd be fire.
That'd be
right?
It's actually Kick-Ass 3.
Yeah.
And then they incorporate the MCU for the multiverse, and like one of the universes is the Kick-Ass universe.
Quicksilver knocks him out and says, "You didn't see that coming.
You didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
what? You didn't see that coming." Right. All right, so moving on. Since we're talking about Quicksilver and talking about kind of comic booky stuff, before we get to Guardians of the Galaxy, I brought this up on one of the streams that DC versus Marvel now, because James Gunn is essentially DC's.
Oh my God, Twitter is going crazy. Twitter loves James Gunn like Texans love real guns. Twitter loves James
What
Gunn.
is it about him that they love so much? And don't get me wrong, I love James Gunn, but what is it about the Twitter just eating him up? Is it because he's active?
He made a bunch of child molester jokes and got away with it. I mean, like, if that doesn't scream Twitter love. When I first heard that story, I thought he was getting, and he did. It was a political assassination. It was a job. But when I saw the sheer amount of child molester jokes that guy put on his Twitter, that was a lot, yo. That was a lot of jokes.
I never saw them.
Oh, they're out there, man. There were a ton of them. There were several of them.
Now here's the deal. A joke is a joke.
Yeah, sure.
Until there's accusations from other people, then shut up, everybody.
Yeah, no, sure. They were jokes.
You know,
they were jokes, but it's hard to defend somebody when you do that many jokes. It's like you just, at the very least, like, all right, James, let's leave the comedy for the comedians.
Hey,
let's not try to do our Twitter joke series on freaking
what about
child
dead baby
pornography.
jokes? Are dead baby jokes okay?
Dog, dead baby jokes are okay unless our comment section says they're not, and they try to cancel us. And then they're
so
not. No.
How about this one? Can I tell one? And it's not necessarily dirty, but it's a two-parter. It's like there's a first part and a second and ending part. So
yo, your dead baby jokes got sequels, yo?
Yeah, dude. Look, so the first part is everybody knows the first part. It's like, how do you get 10 dead babies into a bucket? Everybody knows the answer to that one. A blender.
Yeah, I've heard that.
How do you get them out?
A straw?
Tortilla chips.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think tortilla chips is more Texan. It's a more Texan joke.
Yeah.
So there you go for you, all you Texans that tune in.
But wouldn't smoothies work a little bit better?
A smoothie with
Yeah.
smoothies.
Yeah, the dead.
Sure,
babies.
but tortilla chips. I'm just thinking salsa.
Listen, we're losing
Chunky.
viewers by a second talking about dead babies.
Yeah.
Right?
So back to James Gunn.
Uh-huh.
So you recently told me, and then I looked up, and yeah, not that I didn't believe you, but I read more into it, that he's genuinely wanting to connect every DC property into a universe, not like we've already seen the DCEU with a few films, but he's wanting to make connect all these other ongoing, basically do what Disney Plus has done. But does this mean that he's wanting to connect, which I think
animated shows and movies?
Well, which I think this is inevitable. And I called this a while back. I think it's inevitable for now that they're doing a sequel to Joker, for that world and Pattinson's world to link up. I think it's inevitable.
Why?
I just think it is. I'm not saying that I want it. I think that it's inevitable they're going to do it because they're just too similar feeling. And
I think it's inevitable for the people in charge of DCEU to make bad decisions. That's why I think it's inevitable, and that's a bad decision.
You don't think Gunn can save it?
No. Why? Why would? Because he did Trauma?
No. Hey, Tromeo and Juliet is an amazing film, and I watched that when it came out back in the day because I worked at a video store.
Listen, it sounds like I'm hating on James Gunn. I love both the Guardians movies. The second Suicide Squad was trash.
I disagree. I like the second Suicide Squad. It wasn't amazing, but I really enjoyed it. I liked it enough to put it in the collection.
What collection? The garbage bin collection?
Hey,
the recycling bin?
Look, you've seen my collection. It's full of gems, rewatchable gems. Not saying that they're all A-list movies.
Yo, the only people that rewatch that Guardians of the Galaxy are the prisoners of war that we get from, when
you mean Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad. Yes, you're right. When we kidnap terrorists, we can't waterboard them anymore. We make them watch that Suicide Squad movie, and they spill all the beans. All the beans are being spilled after watching that movie. Don't make me watch that again.
It's not even bad. I don't think it was. I wasn't blown away by it.
It was spare as spare can be.
It's better than the first one.
Well, that is a low bar, my man.
There's lots of parts about the first that are enjoyable, but then there's just as much that's bad.
Like at the end when they show the credits.
The entire Batman scene's badass. I love that scene. I do like a lot of the stuff with Rick Flag occasionally. I think that
careful how you say that.
I think that Harley Quinn was really good in it, and I even enjoyed Boomerang in that. But it had way too many characters in it for one thing.
So Margot Robbie, incredibly gorgeous girl, incredibly talented actress. She's done a lot of roles I love. The Tanya Harding movie, she was phenomenal in that, right? That's when you really realize that she can act. She ain't just a pretty face, right? She can act.
Well, and she was also awesome in Wolf of Wall Street, which everybody found out about her.
For sure. But that was the first time I remember.
That's the first time I ever saw her.
So here's the thing, though. I think she tries, with her Harley, she tries too much to be the animated Harley.
She does.
I would have liked to see her do her own take on Harley. And that's whenever I watch her doing Harley, I'm like, this chick is just trying to be cartoon Harley. And
no, you're right. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. That is sort of my complaint with her. I think she does a good impersonation of that Harley,
Yeah.
Like if she was at a Comic-Con, everybody would be like, oh shit, you're awesome. But I am curious to see what Lady Gaga is going to bring to it. I'm just worried about this whole musical thing on that. But overall, I enjoy watching Suicide Squad. I don't think it's like baller, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I got no problem with the musical because I watched Bollywood movies growing up. Every Bollywood movie is a musical.
I don't mind musicals. Like Moulin Rouge, I think is one of my favorites. And there's plenty of musicals I truly do enjoy. I'm talking about this being a musical.
Yeah, once again, if you watch Bollywood movies, every movie is musical. So you're used to the merging of genres that may not fit, right? But going back to Margot and Harley, yeah, like it feels like she's just doing a cosplay. And I think it also suffers from the fact that they changed that character up because Margot Robbie is playing Harley Quinn. And Harley Quinn went from being a villain to an anti-hero. And you writing this character in a way that they weren't meant to be written. Now, once again, if she does her own version of Harley, then that changes things up again, and then we can maybe accept that as an audience. But it's kind of hard when you know that they're basically force-feeding Harley down our throats because they know they have a megastar A-list actor acting as Harley. And I can't fault the people in the business behind it because the business about making movies is always business at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. You got to make those dollars, right?
For sure.
Cream, cash rules everything around me. That's old school for you kids.
Get on
Method
top.
Man, that's right. Wu-Tang Clan. But, I think that movie suffers from it. I thought the humor, and we'll talk about this in the Guardian special. I think I'm getting burned out in this comic book humor, especially because it's all the same type of humor. It's all the same. It's all the same jokes, same punchlines.
With that being said, I guess we'll just move on to Guardians.
Okay.
We both watched the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special this afternoon.
Yeah.
And first off, I really enjoyed it. I actually had a lot of fun with it. And I think it's one of the better things that MCU has done in a while, especially on Disney Plus. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's better than Wakanda Forever. It's not. But what I'm saying is that
it's better than Loki.
Well, I felt more of a satisfaction at the end of it, but there was also parts of Loki that got me dulled out. But I still love Loki, and I still think parts of Loki were great, and I love the good parts. I just didn't care for him and the female Loki thing so much. That drug onto a weird spot that kind of started to bug me. Their dialogue.
Better than Werewolf by Night?
I'd say it's equal. They're just different.
Dog, this was so mid. Now, listen, I can't hate on it because...
But I was expecting... That's the thing. I was expecting heartwarming, Christmas-timey feels, and that's what I got.
Okay, sure. I mean, this is really just... It's a filler. It's as filler can be. I can't hate on it. I feel like I'm coming across as a hater on this episode, and maybe I just am, and you can deal with it. But, yeah, I mean, listen, this is fine. You sit your kids down and watch it, and they'll see their favorite comic book characters and laugh. But anybody that's an adult that goes in this watching it and wanting a jolly old good time, you're in for a disappointment. Once again, I thought the humor, I just didn't laugh. I didn't. I'm so tired of the same style of humor. You can bring the jokes, but bring them different. But Marvel doesn't have the guts to really do that because, comedy can ruffle some feathers.
Look, I'm not saying that I was just dying laughing while I was watching it.
I used to laugh. The first Guardians of the Galaxy had me laughing. It had me rolling, dog. I had stitches.
I agree. What I'm saying is this
wasn't for the snitches,
This wasn't really like I guess I wasn't looking for that one. I was looking for the humor. Didn't bother me. I wasn't dying laughing, but I was actually paying attention to the whole Kevin Bacon thing, and I just like the feels, man. It just got me in the Christmas spirit. That's what I wanted from it.
Kevin Bacon to me looked like he was acting to a green screen this entire time.
No,
I just didn't feel like when I watched his performance, and Kevin Bacon's a great actor, but when I watched the performance, it felt like he was just acting on cue in front of a green screen. Yeah, part of me wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't there during the actual filming with those actors. I mean, there are scenes where they're obviously together, and so he obviously was, but it didn't feel like that to me, Or
maybe he wasn't there until they actually...
They could have added in post.
Until they actually had him on the big set where they're on the planet. You know what I mean? Like maybe like when he was in his house and stuff like that, they didn't have them there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, because now that I think about it, they didn't have a lot of scenes on the same screen together. They were in the same scenes, but they weren't on the screen together a lot until the end. But I mean, I like James Gunn's thing. I felt bad for Peter because he lost Gamora, and then the whole thing with introducing Manta as his sister.
Yeah, but Gamora's back. I mean, it's not the same Gamora, but there's a Gamora there. She's not in this because, Gamora, for those of you who don't know, in the storyline was filming Avatar, The Way of Water. So that's why she wasn't in this.
but she's back, but he's like but she hates him again. You know what I mean?
She's back. She just has to film a bigger movie, right? But yeah, I guess
look, you're not supposed to like it because I like it. For me, the Christmassy deal, it did it.
I thought it was really mid. I thought it was mid as hell. I thought it was Middle Earth. I mean, like, and the whole Mantis and Batista Drax thing. I think that type of humor works when you have one that's a straight man. You can't have both of them being idiots all the time. It doesn't work. They both act like children. That's what got me annoyed. I felt like I was, in a room full of children watching.
You didn't like Drax bullet tickles?
That was funny. But the interplay between him and Mantis, you need one of them to be the straight person. You need Peter Quill there. Peter Quill can be an idiot, but when the others are acting like idiots, he's a straight man. And that's what brings the humor, because he's the one that has to, deal with these children, these idiots. And that's where the humor comes from. When both of them are acting like idiots, you just kind of, you're stuck without that static dynamic.
Yeah, that was the problem with the Russ Martin show. Sure. And I hate to say it this way, but when Russ died, they just had a bunch of straight men on there. And it's just like, well, you need a crazy dude to make the straight man work.
Yeah, and Russ wasn't exactly straight, you know what I mean? But there's not that there's anything wrong with that. Russell Martin was a horrible person. So
he was a terrible. He was hilarious to listen to on the radio, but the older he got, the more you found out he was a piece of shit.
Oh, he was a garbage human being.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. Russ.
Yeah. The Rosaya.
There's also there's like 10% of our stream, if that knows who Russell Martin is. Google him, folks.
You only know Russ Martin is if you live in Dallas, and even then, you might not know.
Then you just know he drove an old school Batmobile.
That's sort of how he got his claim, but
yeah.
But okay, so let me ask you this: when we see all these guys on there, and of course it doesn't have Gamora in there, but is Nebula, when she gives Rocket Bucky's arm,
what
was that?
Because that's obviously that is Kevin Feige calling me like, hey, we need Bucky to have an arm missing. James, you got this?
Yeah. So
and James was like, yeah, sure, yeah, why not? I'll have Nebula give it to Rocket.
But what happened? Was that supposed to be a teaser to something else coming up?
100%. Mark it down as going to be. Is it? Do I know it is? No, I just know it is because of my 20 plus years now watching Marvel movies. That was something that marketing called James up, was like, hey, we need Bucky to miss an arm, and you can't use Bucky, but you need to make it work somehow. And James was like, all right. Sure.
Well, it's funny because he loves the whole. Remember when the original raccoon is, I'm going to get that arm.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't understand.
Oh, you know what? You're right. He did say that. I forgot about that. So it may just be a joke.
But that's the thing. Why does Bucky not? Why would Bucky lose his arm from Nebula? Why would she go all the way just to get Bucky? Like, was it a leftover arm?
She just grabbed a bunch of magnets from a refrigerator.
made a fake arm.
Yeah. No, she stole it using magnets.
Oh.
Didn't that happen in Civil War? Didn't Spider-Man attach him to a magnet or something?
I can't. Yeah. No, they had him in a vice.
I thought a magnet was in there somewhere with Bucky. Bucky got magnetized somehow with his arm.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've watched that, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we watched all of them. Because now we're so deep into this weird.
Maybe Magneto took
purgatory.
It, that's how they're going to introduce Magneto. Magneto gave it to Rocket because they're homeboys.
Oh, that I wouldn't put it past him
because Rocket used to be Magneto's pet.
So look,
in Nazi Germany, and then he got the High Evolutionary. No, I don't know.
So getting the High Evolutionary. So getting back on to James Gunn though, you don't think that he's gonna really bring anything to DC?
I hope he does. Like, don't get twisted. I want DC to be good, because when you guys don't realize this because you're nerds, right? There's such thing called women. Also, what you don't realize being nerds is that the majority of the people,
why are you hating on people?
The majority of people don't know the difference between DC and Marvel. They just know comic books.
No, well, yeah, of course, if you're a casual.
So if half of the equation sucks for the general audience, they just keep watching these crappy comic book movies. In their brain, they just equate that to comic book movies.
Oh, our one viewer left. He must have been a nerd.
Sorry about that, homie. Or maybe went to go get a girl. Maybe I helped him out. Maybe I, changed his life. But when half the comic book movies suck, it makes the general public get tired of comic book movies in general. So they need to be good, right? So hopefully he does do a good job. I just don't see it in his track record to give me hope that he's going to. And I don't see anything in Warner Brothers' track record to make me think that they're going to take DC seriously.
They've got him, and then they've got new leadership. Walter Hamada is out, and
well, yeah, James Gunn's in, right?
And then this Zaslav guy
or
something.
Yeah, Zaslav.
So it's those two guys
Zaslav
now.
Sounds like a comic book bad guy.
Oh yeah, dude, Victor Zaslav.
Yeah.
No, but he said that his idea is to, one of the reasons they canceled Batgirl is that they wanted to focus back on the core characters that people care about in DC, which I think that's smart, because while Marvel has a ton of awesome obscure characters that people can latch onto, DC never did good at that. Like Blue Beetle. Do we really need to see a Blue Beetle movie?
Well, according to James Gunn, the majority of people that are on Twitter want to see it. And so does that mean he's going to do it? Didn't say.
They said that one's not canceled. That's one that that one they actually forwarded to a theatrical release when it was going to be an HBO Max release.
If DC,
but they could change that.
If DC has a cachet of characters that they can't make financially viable, it's not because it can't happen. It's because they're not good enough to make it happen.
Oh, I agree. Are there flaws in the first Green Lantern movie? Yes, but it gets a huge bad rap. I think it's way too, people are hard on it. The suit sucks. It does. But the actual film itself has a little bit too much going on in it, but it's not like a shitty movie to watch.
Yeah, we need to do a film series where you try to defend horrible movies and I just rip you for them, because this seems to be a recurring theme in this.
No, it gets a bad rap.
Because it's bad.
No, it's not. It's not a shit movie. It's just not. They didn't nail the character properly all the way through, and the suit. But look, it's like to me,
they didn't nail the character. They didn't nail the suit.
No, they didn't get the character wrong. They just didn't nail it.
The villain is decent. Sinestro's a decent villain.
Yeah, with Mark Strong playing him, who's also the villain in Shazam, which is funny.
Villain? What about the third act, what takes place in the green screen desert?
That's so they combined a little too much.
The desert from Shock Boy and Lava Girl look better than the desert.
No way. But Daredevil, that's a movie that has a ton of flaws, all over it. It's like, this is a bad made movie. Whereas Green Lantern wasn't badly made. They just made some decisions. So for me, that's where let me paint a picture. There's a girl that I know that there's a couple movies. She's done this multiple times. She'll be like, I saw so-and-so last night. And I'm like, what? And she's like, no, I hated it. And I'm like, what was bad about it? And then turns out she's like, well, so-and-so and all this. And then they die at the end. And it's like, it's not a bad movie because you didn't like what happened to the character. It's just, that's just the story. It's still well made.
But it can be a bad story.
But that's I don't know if that's more of a subjective relative eye of the beholder. It's very clear to see if it's poor production.
All right, guys, in the future we're gonna be doing Shogun Showdowns.
Yeah, we will.
This will definitely have to be one. Did you like Aquaman?
You know that I do.
Good Lord.
Now, I don't think
this might not be a Shogun Showdown. This might be therapy. I don't what do you
But I like James Wan. It's not the Arthur Curry that I read in the comics, but I knew as soon as he was making it what type of movie it was going to be. And but I'm also
their mom grounds them. That's how the movie ends. The mom threatens to ground both of them and the brothers quit fighting.
Dude, I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. I have fun with that movie.
Okay.
I'm not going to nominate it for an Oscar. Somebody's going to say, is Aquaman in your top 10 comic book movies? No, it's not in my top 20.
If somebody says, listen, I got a couple hours to kill. I want you to give me a movie. I want you to justify telling me to tell that person to watch Aquaman.
This is reminding me of the Blue Goose days. So look, I will recommend Aquaman to certain people. Certain people I won't recommend it to. Right. I know you don't like it, and I knew that you wouldn't like it, even when I know that that's not a movie you're going to like.
Who are those people, and are they living?
Yeah,
or is this like a JFK election thing?
The movie made a ton of money on Blu-ray after and in the theater.
Okay, man. There's a lot of bad movies that made a ton of money.
But I'm saying it made money after the theater. People, there is love for that movie.
People comment down below if you think Aquaman is a great movie.
Well, they've all left because you just hated on them. You called them all. You called all the nerds.
There'll be more later.
Losers.
We don't need that loser. Okay. Unless you left on accident, then you're not a loser and we love you.
I do honestly feel like you should maybe watch that because people will click off of us for stuff like that. People will take it personally.
That viewer. I attacked nerd. How was I supposed to know he's a nerd?
But nerds are cool now. We're not bullies on the channel.
No. Here's the thing. I do like nerds. I just hate the Twitter nerds. nerds. Does that make sense? The Twitter nerds are awful people. So whenever you on the channel, if you hear me insult nerds, it's not you. It's not the people that love nerdy things that just sit there and want nerdy things. It's the people that are the animated negative part of this fan base that has started to take over the conversation, that have started to run a lot of the YouTube channels out there. I'm not a fan of those people. I'm not a fan of their content. And I think you start seeing that with a lot of them now start trying to be, cash in on the negativity and center their channels around it and get political just for views. I think nerd fan base right now is a very, very bad place. And one of the things I want to do with this channel is bring it back to a more centered place. Like, yeah, I'll be taking shots at people, but it's all in good fun. I'm not ever serious about it. I want us to be able to joke around about nerd subjects and give different viewpoints, but without getting that place of negativity that most things do. As I'm sitting here arguing about why these two movies suck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're showing glass half full like crazy.
Yeah. Listen, do as I say, not as I do. First of all, okay. Secondly, I'm not telling you to go light the movie and James Wan on fire. Okay. I'm just telling you that let's be honest. These movies aren't good. Okay?
I can get enjoyment out of them, and I do get enjoyment out of them. But a lot of it comes from me looking at the things that James Wan's doing with the camera. There's certain things like that I'm paying attention to that make me like it. So, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that when people are like, "What's your top 20 comic book movies?" This is not in there, but there's something about it that works for me.
Okay, so here's the thing. So, if for those of you know that I came, Who's the Master was another channel previously, and I had a guy on that channel named Aaron. He may show up on some of these videos every once in a while with us. But Old Cleasy, he's a director as well, and he loves Wan as well. So these guys are directors, are very visual. I think they have appreciation for James Wan that the regular person will not have. What I'm asking you to do is take it into the viewpoint of a regular person who's looking for an entertaining movie that gives them a good story. Would you recommend Aquaman or what was the other movie we were arguing about? Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Would you recommend those two? With all the other, they've never watched a comic book movie before. You got to recommend two good comic
No, those aren't the ones I'm recommending. No, not at all.
You really on that much.
But there are people that I know that like those type of movies that don't even like comic book movies that I'd be like, oh yeah, you're going to like this. You're not going to get.
Okay. Who are those people?
They exist, dude. Some of them are my family.
Okay.
So I have aunts and uncles that,
But you're giving me this category of person. So, okay. I'm not saying they don't exist. I want you to explain who that category is to me and then I can believe it.
Look, I guarantee you that not only I'm trying to find the what Aquaman made.
All I'm saying to our viewing audience is there are people that believe Bigfoot is real. Right?
So what does that have to do?
I'm just saying, if you want to make a movie about Bigfoot, there are people that believe the Holocaust isn't real. You can find people that will believe.
Oh yeah.
Right. So are you saying that people exist that like this movie because there are people that exist that like anything, or are you saying that there's actual genre of people that like this movie? That genre is
so 1.148 billion USD at the box office. That's not just people going to see it once. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Okay, that's a fair point. I'll give you that point. With that being said, how much money did Venom make?
Not that it made it.
Let's go Google that.
But I do know that the second one, I think Venom made 700 million worldwide.
That's what I think as well. But let's look it up. I think 700 million was actually domestic, but let's see.
You might be right. So 856 million USD. So you're right. That's domestic.
And that movie was also garbage.
Again,
trash.
But again, I'm not going to recommend that movie, but I can find enjoyment out of that one because there are things that they don't go too far with it. However, the second one, no, the second one is a travesty.
How much money did the second one make?
Oh, I bet not. It got bad reviews.
I never even watched the second one,
So the second one made 506. So
that's still a decent haul. That's more than Black Adam, man.
That's still what is Black Adam at?
It's like 200 million.
Jeez.
It's not gonna make any money.
And
it's not gonna turn a profit.
And it's way better of a movie.
Yeah.
Now, so Black Adam, I feel like actually has
we enjoyed Black
Adam. More of a solid thread to it. Take the little kid out of it.
Yeah. I didn't love Black Adam. I just gave it. I mean, I think I gave it like.
Jeez. So worldwide, Black Adam is at 378.1 million and is at 163 in the US.
Budget was 192 million.
Jeez. Wow. Okay, man. That is but look, going back
Smell
to
what The Rock is cooking, and it's a bomb.
look, go Aquaman is the epitome of a popcorn movie.
Tell me Black Adam.
No, but Black Adam had more emotionality to it. There were moments where I kind of felt bad for him with the son and all that. That doesn't
they
exist.
Do all that Aquaman too.
But that does. But
his dad dies. Mom is missing. Finds mom.
But it feels more like
by the way, people.
But it feels more like a music video, whereas like, and on purpose, it feels more like they're going through all this motion real quick.
Aquaman had love interest.
Look, again, I think going for the tone of Aquaman, it's more of a bubblegum vibe on purpose, whereas Black Adam, they were trying to do the darkness. I think if they would have stuck with the darkness all the way through, it would have done better.
I agree 100%.
I think people would have remembered it.
Movie. The little kid comedy, and once again, comedy, they're overdoing the comedy. What are been our main complaints about movies, comic book movies this year? Thor, Love and Thunder, comedy. Black Adam, comedy. This for me is Guardians of the Galaxy once again.
Yeah,
dial it down a little bit. Guardians is not supposed to be serious. I'm not saying make it serious, but we don't have to go over the top all the time.
But I don't think that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be like this. I think that they were making this as a Christmas special.
100%.
Okay, at least we can agree on that.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not if you just want to watch it, just watch a Christmas special. Like if you're watching, your choices are between this and Christmas Story, you're gonna watch a Christmas Story. Let's be real. But there's that claymation Rudolph movie. Yeah, pop in Guardians all day long.
You don't like the claymation Rudolph?
I do, but you've seen it a million times. Yeah, it's claymation.
Too many times.
So yeah, let's watch Guardians instead. But
hopefully this is going to bring something to us, though. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. Who's going to be like, where it's going to leave the MCU? Because I'm curious to see if, real quick, since we're talking about Guardians. Do you think, excuse me, that Guardians 3 is going to be Peter's farewell? Or do you, obviously Drax is going to be gone.
I think it's going to be James Gunn's farewell.
Oh, I definitely know that. I know that he will.
Drax,
he's going to DC.
Drax, I love Batista. I'm a big wrestling fan.
Batista's great on screen, man.
He is, but I think Batista may be falling the trap of thinking he's more of a serious actor than he is.
Doing the M. Night movie, and then,
Hey, I hope it works out for him, because Batista's a good dude, so... if that ends up blowing up my face and he ends up becoming an awesome serious actor, then I would be super happy for the guy. But I'm worried that he may be taking a wrong career choice here. Especially he's not a young dude; he's in his 50s.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing. Maybe first off, he's done well. He's been in Dune and things like that now, and he's got a look that's sort of undeniable. Like nobody else has got the look that he's got. So there's something there about that. But also, he's made some money now. He is.
Oh, he made a lot of money in WWE, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he might be on that tail end of like, I just always wanted to do a serious acting stint. So maybe he's just going to do it for a little while. And
yeah, absolutely, and that would be awesome. And hopefully it works out for him.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the deal: the first real serious full on main role that he has is going to be an M. Night movie. I know he's been in some other stuff, but an M. Night movie that already is going to be like, well, you're either going to love it or hate it. Without Dave, just because it's an M. Night movie.
Yeah, M. Night's painful, man. I hope high hopes for my Indian brother.
I still love M. Night in the sense that I respect that he takes risks, and I do think that he still does make good movies. But when it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
He's a great filmmaker, but stop with the twist endings. You're done, man. I think you ruin your own movies by just being insistent that you need to have a twist. And I can understand the pressure, because I think people go into theaters expecting M. Night to have this twist. But part of the way through, we end up realizing we're watching a good movie, and then it gets ruined by trying to work on that twist.
It's all about the twist making or breaking it.
Yeah.
For me, I thought that he was making a career change, or not a career change, but a career path trajectory when he came out with Split and The Visit. Both of those movies, I was like,
but they both had twists.
But the twists were so minor. The twist in Split was like when the movie's about to end and you see David Dunn turn around and it's Bruce Willis there, and then the movie goes off. Like there wasn't really a twist up until that point. And then later on, I mean, yes, you're having
the Beast persona was a little bit of a twist.
you're just finding out that he's more than human, but it wasn't like something was pulled out from under the rug like some of these other movies, like he was dead the whole time. But what The Visit did was it just all of a sudden you find out that this girl that she was staying with her grandparents this whole time, you realize is like, oh, it wasn't actually her grandparents.
Yeah.
Subtle
By the
twist.
way, right up there with Home Alone for worst parents ever. Like you just drop them off in a range.
Right.
They don't even see that the grandparents are. Come on.
But you did look, but you got to watch the scenario on how it all goes down.
He made believable in the movie, but those parents are terrible parents, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Terrible parents.
So for me, it looked like that he was going more with the subtle twist, try to make something subtle. But then he turns around and comes out with Glass, which to me was a huge letdown. Because I love Split and I love Unbreakable. But Glass was a very big letdown. Man,
I gotta rewatch Unbreakable. I loved it at the time I watched it, but now that we've had real superhero movies, would it be as good? I don't know.
It still holds up because it's the whole idea that it's actually, is he even a superhero or is he just sort of like the strongest man alive?
Yeah, once again, I loved it, but back then I loved Kevin Smith movies too. So,
it's also a movie that also has like it was almost like he was giving us comic book nerds out there a nod, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was partially what I liked about it as well. But anyways, getting off of M. Night, I just respect him because he takes risks. That's my biggest thing about him. And he funds all of his own films. So I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't. But that's cool.
The only thing the studios do for him is distribute it. He makes them and then tries to get it into a studio.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, well, I'm all about Indian representation. So cast my brother in a movie and I'll be all about you, M. Night.
that would be dope.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, the other thing that we were going to talk about was just, I thought it'd be a fun ending thing, but you got anything more to say about Guardians? I mean, are you high hopes for the future of
so
MCU?
I've loved both Guardians movie, and I think Guardians 3 is going to be nice. I like the fact that we're going to bring Adam and Warlock in, but once again, I have been a little bit concerned with Marvel's use of humor, and I think a lot of the humor is too similar, and that's why we're getting burned out on it. They're not taking a lot of risks with the humor, as if they won't, because taking risks with humor can be a double-edged sword these days.
Do you think that they're going to tone down humor after Thor: Love and Thunder? Because this clearly was already in production when that movie was released.
I think they need to. I think they're whipping a dead horse at this point. You come back to it later. You don't have to be done with it forever. But don't be DC. Don't be insistent on dark and gritty.
No, don't.
You right to your grave.
I don't mind you making a situation that requires a movie to be dark, but I don't want you to just take the turn to all of a sudden the next 10 movies are going to be really dark.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Make a like Ant-Man. That's a heist situation. So you made it a heist movie. That's cool when it makes sense to do. And if you think about Iron Man, the reason that humor is good in that movie is because the character Tony Stark is a smart ass quippy dude. So it's not like they're just shoving humor in. That's what his character would do.
Robert Downey Jr. bringing Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah. And can you imagine, would anybody else really been able to have brought that?
No, I don't. I wonder if it would have been as good with Tom Cruise.
I don't think it would have.
I don't think it would have either.
Well, I love Tom as an actor, and he can pull off some awesome things. Les Grossman is one of the greatest characters ever.
Tom Cruise was on a downturn. When they were talking about casting Tony Stark, that was post the what's the
Katie Holmes?
Yeah, Katie Holmes thing.
The whole Scientology deal. Yeah. It could have, at the time, it could have tainted the launch of the MCU.
Robert Downey Jr. was on a downturn as well.
No, he was actually he was on the up from his bad shit. So people had already known that the industry knew that he was kind of on this he's actually been sober for the last 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And that had never happened. You know what I mean? So they knew, but they weren't really fully ready to give him that shot like, Jon Favreau and all them did. Which, by the way, did you know this? So Ralphie from A Christmas Story is Peter Billingsley is his name. So not only was he an executive producer of Iron Man, but he is the bald guy that's Obadiah Stane's assistant, who's also in Far From Home.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's Ralphie from Christmas Story, who's also a high famous director who is best friends with Vince Vaughn and directed some of the early Vince Vaughn movies.
Now, is he doing the sequel for Christmas Story that's coming out?
It's already out, and he directed it, is in it. It's his baby.
Okay.
So, which is why it's actually getting decent reviews, because they recreated the house, the whole neighborhood, and it's got all the same people, the same mom.
Yeah, that might be the movie that I've watched more than any other movie, Christmas Story.
Oh, maybe. That and Batman 1989.
Yeah, and then Teen Wolf, because my brother was obsessed with it when we grew up. Every time we go to Blockbuster, he would make us rent Teen Wolf.
Why was he obsessed with it? That was
He loved just like Michael J. Fox, and he was like 5.
Because of Back to the Future or something?
Whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but he loved the hell out of that movie.
So what about the Batman 1989 one? That wasn't one that you watched over and over?
I would have loved to, but my brother ran the freaking household.
So Christmas Story was one of the ones he liked.
I'm not a big rewatchable guy. I don't rewatch movies that much.
I do.
Yeah, a lot of my friends do, man. That's why they got those movie codes down, and I don't.
But I don't sit down and rewatch them. The only time I will really sit down and watch a movie is if it's a new one or if it's been like literally 10 or 15 years since I've seen something. But other than my rewatch process is just to have it on while I'm doing shit.
Yeah, dude, there's so much content out there now. Like, I feel like it's hard to. Like, I feel like I'm way behind on stuff.
Oh,
I can't rewatch stuff if I'm way behind.
Oh, I agree. You're right, dude. It's a tough world to be in this industry as far as trying to review stuff, because it's like, what do I choose?
Yeah. Well, you guys can help us out with that. You can comment below if you think there's things we need to do. There's a lot I want to get to, guys. I want to get Bobo on some anime.
Yeah, we were talking about that today.
Yeah. I also want to make Bobo watch some Bollywood movies.
I'm all about it.
I want to broaden Bobo's horizons.
I have a pretty broad horizon, but I am,
we'll get you
I am a white boy.
Bobo. We'll get you experimenting.
No, I'm all about experimenting, and it'll be great to do stuff like that. The problem with Anshul is that Anshul actually does have his toe in a lot of different genres, different things. Like usually if I ask Anshul about, like, have you seen so-and-so or whatever, he usually knows about it, or he usually is aware of what's going on with this. And so it's tough to kind of stomp. I think there's probably a bunch of horror out there that I could be like, you haven't seen it,
yes,
but you don't enjoy the horror all that much,
Yeah, I'll watch it, but yeah, I'm not a hardcore fan like you are. Yeah, you blow me out of the water with the horror. That's not.
But I actually enjoy watching other things that people introduce me to. Not saying that I'll always end up liking it, but I do like taking journeys. Okay, I think it's worth it.
Let's see if we can get some comments on this, because there's a couple. The Vinland Saga season 2 is coming out. Vinland Saga, let me tell you, did you watch the Viking movie that came out recently that I can't think of the name?
The Northman?
The Northman. Thank you. Vinland Saga is everything Northman should have been.
So you like Robert Eggers, the director? He's the guy who did Northman. He
did Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
Northman was all right because I was expecting that, right? So I wasn't disappointed in Northman. But with that being said, once I really got the comparison to Vinland Saga in my head, I couldn't get it out of my head, and it kind of ruined the Northman for me. Because Vinland Saga is an anime series that it's Japanese, and if you want to watch the good version, you watch the subtitle version. You don't watch the dub. Man, it's awesome. It's got, first of all, Viking lore and Japanese lore have some similarities, and they like the brutal warrior characters, the honorable characters that that aren't afraid, that love to fight big battles, and a lot of the less realistic parts of Vinland Saga when it comes to the feats of strength, etc. That lends itself to the culture of the Norway culture as well. They had the same sort of fables where people exhibit these feats of superhuman strength, and so it's a natural fit. But it's also very historically accurate, even though it takes a lot of liberties with these historical characters. They're all based off real life historical characters, and it's able to recreate this fictional tale based on those people,
on historical figures.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of insight into that into that dynasty, into that the Norway dynasty, I think is what it's called, or the Denmark dynasty.
So this is called what again?
Vinland Saga. So Vinland, Vikings were the first people to find America, right? North America. And they called it Vinland. Okay. The person that was the first person to settle, the first person that found it was Leif Erikson, who is a character in the show. But he's not the main character. The main character is a guy named Thorfinn, who was the first person to actually settle on North America.
Well, what is it on?
It's on Netflix, and they're about to drop season 2.
Okay.
Season 1 is phenomenal.
So that and Castlevania, you said I should watch.
Castlevania is great. And Warren Ellis, who Mr. Me Too, was the most Me Too person on the face of the planet, I think, outside of Harvey Weinstein. You need a pitch count between those two. It's interesting to see who has the most. I think it might be Warren, though. I think Warren might have him.
Warren Ellis is finally getting the fame he always wanted, just not the way.
Yeah, exactly. They're both similar and they're both very. You could say deconstruction is a big part of it, but Vinland Saga, the deconstruction is different because they want you to feel what it's like to live in that era, live in a harsh northern climate back in the 16th century or 15th century, whenever it's set, and how hard it is just to survive in that type of environment and what it was like to live in that type of environment. Also, with all the political upheaval that's happening, it's a big part of that show as well. So you're laughing. You must have pulled up the Warren Ellis.
Yeah, I just have to cut to this real fast. So yeah,
look at that picture.
The headline says, "What are the Warren Ellis allegations? Over 60 women accuse author sexual misconduct."
He's the Yankees of Me Too. All right.
Let me see if I can. I might not be able to because no, I think I'll be able to. Oh, no, hang on. Did the wrong thing. I just want to get Warren Ellis's picture up here real quick because yes, this picture is something else.
Yeah, when you guys many Me Too allegations as Roger Maris has home runs, you might have a problem, you know?
So yeah, look at this guy. Oh boy, look at that guy right there, huh?
God, look at that cuck.
Oh man, sorry, I'm messing up my.
He looked like creepy Crocodile Dundee right there.
He does. He looks like he's like, "Where's my women?"
Yeah. Crocodile Dundee 3, when Crocodile Dundee is not hunting crocodiles, but he's actually hunting women.
Yeah,
he's a sexual predator. That's what he would look like in that movie.
You know, every time somebody talks about Crocodile Dundee 3, it just makes me think. Makes me think of despair.
Yeah, he pulls out a knife. That's not a knife. He unzips his pants. This is a knife.
And look at this headline. What are the Ellis accusations? Over 60 women accuse author of sexual misconduct. Man, that is hilarious.
Yeah. Like I wonder who's got more, him or Harvey Weinstein.
No, dude, it might be him actually, because I'm sure there are people with Harvey that haven't come out as far as said they're whatever about it, but I mean, listen, he's just not as high profile as Harvey Weinstein.
Which one of you? So if this show takes off, which one of us is going to be the first one to pop our Me Too cherries?
Oh, fortunately, I've got no track record of that.
Neither do I. That's why it'd be a cherry, man. That's why it's a cherry.
Well, I'm afraid of even asking a woman out these days because of me getting arrested or something because of all, you know.
Yeah, listen, if a woman message you on the YouTube DMs, listen, first of all, it's probably a cam girl. Secondly,
it probably is.
Yeah, they're going to want your credit card info. Secondly, do not respond.
So Michael Murphy says he looks like a trailer park version of Garth Brooks. Oh, that's my boy Sean. What up, Sean? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a good line, Sean. I like that.
Trailer
Park
hilarious.
Garth Brooks. But Trailer Park Garth Brooks probably got less Me Too's than old Warren does. How are you going to have a name like Warren? That's a high-class name.
That is. And you look like that.
That's old money name. Yeah. That's Rothschild. Like a Rothschild. There's probably Warren Rothschild out there somewhere.
Right. Hammer.
Yeah.
Warren Rothschild Hammer Ellis.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, so that's funny that he's the Me Too. Well, speaking of Me Too guys, this isn't a Me Too. This is more like a He Too. Too. But we're going to end on this note. Oh, Kevin Spacey.
He's back.
Our favorite homosexual underage teenage molester guy.
Yeah.
He has got his first role in a British movie.
Yeah, he's a T-6000. He just keeps coming back like the Terminator.
Evil T-6000, yes. Yeah, and instead of saying I'll be back, he says, I will pack.
Yeah.
Classic.
So he's going to be in the movie Control, and he's going to be playing a creepy voice. The jokes write themselves.
So,
I can't wait till Saturday Night Live does a skit. Not that I watch Saturday Night Live anymore because it kind of sucks, but this will be a Saturday Night Live skit.
Is there a world where Kevin Spacey becomes acceptably famous overseas?
I mean, it worked for with the director Roman
Polanski.
Yeah. But Roman Polanski, he slept with an underage girl, and that's like 95% of Hollywood. So, they defend him.
I saw some stuff of Danny Masterson today. He's like, about to get his sentencing or go through his trial. Hide from that '70s show.
Oh yeah,
rape allegations.
Oh man,
And he's all heavily involved with Scientology as well. Danny
he was like
Masterson is.
when you read that though, and you look at him, you're like, okay, I get it. Like, listen, I mean, he looks like a rapist.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you can say that somebody just looks like
Well,
one.
he was one, so you can't say that.
No,
I'm not accusing an innocent person.
No.
I'm accusing a rapist of looking like a rapist. Like, I think I got some skills. Then, I think I'm pretty perceptive. Is all that's saying.
What now? Look, wouldn't you say that this also looks like a rapist?
That is The Rock smelling when he's cooking. Back in the better days when his movie didn't flop.
Ooh, hey yo! If you guys are curious, check out the Black Adam review on the channel.
Yeah, we actually like that movie, guys.
It's not a bad movie.
How does Venom and Aquaman make movie, but Black Adam can't break his budget? Like,
this is
audiences.
strange. This is strange. Like, I understand that we don't agree on Aquaman, but what we do agree on is that Black Adam is a better movie.
Yeah,
and I didn't expect it to just blow out the box office, but I am surprised it's not making the money it should be making more money.
It might be, man. We might be finally running into what naysayers have been saying about the comic book industry for a while, and that we're getting that superhero fatigue.
I think that's what's happening, dude. Like, and that's what I said in my review of it. I said, hey, it was great. I had a lot of fun with it, but 7 years too late. 7 years ago, when they were really pumping that Rock was going to be Black Adam, it would have done well, I think. But now we've seen so much of this so many times that it doesn't feel bombastic. Even if it is, it doesn't feel that way anymore.
Well, now we got TV shows too
that are sucking. As far as the Marvel TV shows, dude,
facts.
They're sucking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I do like certain things in the beginning, as far as even the shows that suck. I usually like them in the beginning, and then it turns out to just be garbage.
Yeah, I like, what I like, man? I like your transitions here. We go from Kevin Spacey to talking about sucking.
Yeah. Hey.
So fitting. So fitting.
Suck it up.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're right at an hour, man. We probably should call it quits. And in fact, my monitor behind me just turned into the 8-bit Christmas.
Throw up the socials, Bobo.
Yeah. So, you know what? And I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to keep these on the entire time. It's my fault. I got to keep remembering to keep these on the entire time, which is why coming soon.
Guys, it took me a whole 5 minutes to create that banner. He's just tossing my hard work out.
It needs to be on. I want people to get on these socials. And, once we get everything fully situated with all these changes on the channel, Anshul's going to be the host of this show. He's going to be actually controlling this, and he's going to be doing the versus battles, and I'll be
HR called Bobo and was like, yo, Bobo, we need some diversity. We need some diversity and inclusion, right?
Yeah, HR has been on my ass.
We need to get on that hashtag woke culture.
Yeah. In fact, what this is, they said, excuse me.
Yeah. Dude, we're so inclusive and woke now. Geeks and Gamers about to do a video on us.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, check out the socials below, especially the Patreon. We don't got nothing on there now, but we will have stuff on there in the future. You're also going to help us out if you get on the Patreon. You're going to help Bobo get some better equipment. You can help us get some better lodgings. All this is done to increase your viewer experience. And hopefully once we get bigger, we can start bringing you guys bigger guests.
Also, guys, check out my GoFundMe on there right now. It says Bobby needs a new camera for Full Circle Films.
Yeah. Or you can contribute to the Patreon and we'll get that money to Bobo.
Yeah, either way. I'm just saying, look at my GoFundMe. Also, check her out.
Check out the Twitter and the Instagram. We'll be putting some stuff up. We didn't get this thumbnail up in time to get on there, but we'll let you guys watch it afterwards. We'll put that stuff.
We're still going to be posting it up for sure.
Also, the Facebook account. Before that goes away, before Facebook goes out of business, why don't you go and give us a follow?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
So yeah, we're available on all those socials. We're also on TikTok. BrassReel.
TikTok.
We'll be throwing these. We'll be snipping some parts out of this to put it on TikTok. We'll be doing some snip to get it on TikTok.
Yeah, I'll be working on that tomorrow.
Yeah. So
that being said, guys, thank y'all. Love y'all with all of our hearts. And hey, I'm gonna let you say this. If life gives you lemons, what do we do?
Make some hot, fresh popcorn.
Oh shit.